Hi! I see you're about to become smarter. This video will help you to improve your English language skills. So let's begin.
Accept. Accept. Accept means consent to receive or undertake. Consent to receive or undertake. For example, he accepted a pen as a present. He accepted a pen as a present. Achieve. Achieve. Achieve means successfully bring about or reach desired objective or result. Successfully bring about or reach desired objective or result. For example, he achieved his ambition to become a journalist. He achieved his ambition to become a journalist. Act. Act. Act means do something. Do something. For example, they urged Washington to act. They urged Washington to act. Add. Add. Add means join something to something. Join something to something. For example, I've started a petition, so if you would like to add your name, email me. I've started a petition, so if you would like to add your name, email me. Advertise. Advertise. Advertise means promote product, service. Promote product, service. For example, a billboard advertising beer. A billboard advertising beer. Effect. Effect. Effect means have effect on. Have effect on. For example, the dampness began to affect my health. The dampness began to affect my health. Agree. Agree. Agree means have same opinion. Have same opinion. For example, I completely agree with your recent editorial. I completely agree with your recent editorial. Allow. Allow. Allow means let someone have or do. Let someone have or do. For example, the dissident was allowed to leave the country. The dissident was allowed to leave the country. Appear. Appear. Appear means become visible or noticeable. Become visible or noticeable. For example, smoke appeared on the horizon. Smoke appeared on the horizon. Apply. Apply. Apply means make formal application. Make formal application. For example, you need to apply to the local authorities for a grant. You need to apply to the local authorities for a grant. Argue. Argue. Argue means give reasons or cite evidence in support of idea, action, or theory. Give reasons or cite evidence in support of idea, action, or theory. For example, it stands to reason, she argued. It stands to reason, she argued. Arrange. Arrange. Arrange means Put in order. Put in order. For example, she had just finished arranging the flowers. She had just finished arranging the flowers. Arrive. Arrive. Arrive means reach end of journey. Reach end of journey. For example, we arrived at his house and knocked at the door. We arrived at his house and knocked at the door. Ask. Ask. Ask means speak to get answer or information. Speak to get answer or information. For example, people are always asking questions. People are always asking questions. Attack. Attack. Attack means take military action against. Take military action against. For example, in December, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. In December, the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. Attend. Attend. Attend means be present at. Be present at. For example, the entire sales force attended the conference. The entire sales force attended the conference. Avoid. Avoid. Avoid means keep away from. Keep away from. For example, avoid excessive exposure to the sun. Avoid excessive exposure to the sun. Be. Be. Be means exist. Exist. For example, there are no easy answers. There are no easy answers. Become. Become. Become means begin to be. Begin to be. For example, it is becoming clear that we are in a totally new situation. It is becoming clear that we are in a totally new situation. Begin. Begin. Begin means do or experience first part of something. Do or experience first part of something. For example, it was beginning to snow. It was beginning to snow. Behave. Behave. Behave means act in specified way. Act in specified way. For example, he always behaved like a gentleman. He always behaved like a gentleman. Belong. Belong. Belong means be property of. Be property of. For example, the vehicle did not belong to him. The vehicle did not belong to him. Blow. Blow. Blow means of wind, move. Of wind, move. For example, a cold wind began to blow. A cold wind began to blow. Boil. Boil. Boil means reach or cause to reach boiling point. Reach or cause to reach boiling point. For example, We tried to get people to boil their drinking water. We tried to get people to boil their drinking water. Book. Book. Book means reserve accommodation, ticket, etc. Reserve accommodation, ticket, etc. For example, I have booked a table at the Swan. I have booked a table at the Swan. Borrow. Borrow. Borrow means take something on loan. Take something on loan. For example, he had borrowed a car from one of his colleagues. He had borrowed a car from one of his colleagues. Break. Break. Break means separate into pieces. Separate into pieces. For example, the branch broke with a loud snap. The branch broke with a loud snap. Bring. Bring. Bring means take someone or something to place. Take someone or something to place. For example, she brought Luke home from the hospital. She brought Luke home from the hospital. Brush. Brush. Brush means remove dust or dirt. Remove dust or dirt. For example, we'll be able to brush the mud off easily. We'll be able to brush the mud off easily. Build. Build. Build means construct by putting things together. Construct by putting things together. For example, the ironworks were built in 1736. The ironworks were built in 1736. Burn. Burn. Burn means of fire, flame or glow while consuming fuel. Of fire, flame or glow while consuming fuel. For example, a fire burned and crackled cheerfully in the grate. A fire burned and crackled cheerfully in the grate. Buy. Buy. Buy means obtain in exchange for payment. Obtain in exchange for payment. For example, he bought me a new dress. He bought me a new dress. Call. Call. Call means give a name. Give a name. For example, they called their daughter Hannah. They called their daughter Hannah. Camp. Camp. Camp means live intent. Live intent. For example, parks in which you can camp or stay in a chalet. Parks in which you can camp or stay in a chalet. Care. Care. Care means feel concern. Feel concern. For example, they don't care about human life. They don't care about human life. Carry. Carry. Carry means support and move. Support and move. For example, medics were carrying a wounded man on a stretcher. Medics were carrying a wounded man on a stretcher. Catch. Catch. Catch means intercept and hold. Intercept and hold. For example, she threw the bottle into the air and caught it again. She threw the bottle into the air and caught it again. Cause. Cause. Cause means make something happen. Make something happen. For example, this disease can cause blindness. This disease can cause blindness. Celebrate. Celebrate. Celebrate means mark event. Mark event. For example, they were celebrating their wedding anniversary at a restaurant. They were celebrating their wedding anniversary at a restaurant. Change. Change. Change means make different. Make different. For example, both parties voted against proposals to change the law. Both parties voted against proposals to change the law. Chat. Chat. Chat means talk in friendly and informal way. Talk in friendly and informal way. For example, she chatted to her mother on the phone every day. She chatted to her mother on the phone every day. Check. Check. Check means examine for accuracy, quality, etc. Examine for accuracy, quality, etc. For example, customs officers have the right to check all luggage. Customs officers have the right to check all luggage. Choose. Choose. Choose means pick out person or thing as being best or most appropriate of two or more alternatives. Pick out person or thing as being best or most appropriate of two or more alternatives. For example, he chose a seat facing the door. He chose a seat facing the door. Circle. Circle. Circle means move round. Move round. For example, we circled around the island. We circled around the island. Clean. Clean. Clean means make clean. Make clean. For example, clean your teeth properly after meals. Clean your teeth properly after meals. Climb. Climb. Climb means go up. Go up. For example, we began to climb the hill. We began to climb the hill. Collect. Collect. Collect means bring things together. Bring things together. For example, he went around the office collecting old coffee cups. He went around the office collecting old coffee cups. Come. Come. Come means move towards speaker. Move towards speaker. For example, Jessica came into the kitchen. Jessica came into the kitchen. Communicate. Communicate. Communicate means exchange information or ideas. Exchange information or ideas. For example, the prisoner was forbidden to communicate with his family. The prisoner was forbidden to communicate with his family. Compare. Compare. Compare means estimate similarity or dissimilarity between. Estimate similarity or dissimilarity between. For example, individual schools compared their facilities with those of others in the area. Individual schools compared their facilities with those of others in the area. Compete. Compete. Compete means strive to gain or win something by defeating or establishing superiority over others. Strive to gain or win something by defeating or establishing superiority over others. For example, universities are competing for applicants. Universities are competing for applicants. Complain. Complain. Complain means express dissatisfaction or annoyance. Express dissatisfaction or annoyance. For example, local authorities complained that they lacked sufficient resources. Local authorities complained that they lacked sufficient resources. Complete. Complete. Complete means finish making or doing. Finish making or doing. For example, he completed his PhD in 1983. He completed his PhD in 1983. Connect. Connect. Connect means bring together to form link. Bring together to form link. For example, the electrodes were connected to a recording device. The electrodes were connected to a recording device. Consider. Consider. Consider means think carefully about. Think carefully about. For example, each application is considered on its merits. Each application is considered on its merits. Contain. Contain. Contain means have or hold within. Have or hold within. For example, coffee cans that once contained a full pound of coffee. Coffee cans that once contained a full pound of coffee. Continue. Continue. Continue means persist in activity. Persist in activity. For example, he was unable to continue with his job. He was unable to continue with his job. Cook. Cook. Cook means prepare food. Prepare food. For example, shall I cook dinner tonight? Shall I cook dinner tonight? Copy. Copy. Copy means reproduce. Reproduce. For example, each form had to be copied and sent to a different department. Each form had to be copied and sent to a different department. Correct. Correct. Correct means put right. Put right. For example, the council issued a statement correcting some points in the press reports. The council issued a statement correcting some points in the press reports. Cost. Cost. Cost means require payment of. Require payment of. For example, each issue of the magazine costs $2.25. Each issue of the magazine costs $2.25. Count. Count. Count means determine total number of. Determine total number of. For example, I started to count the stars I could see. I started to count the stars I could see. Cover. Cover. Cover means put something over or in front of. Put something over or in front of. For example, the table had been covered with a checked tablecloth. The table had been covered with a checked tablecloth. Create. Create. Create means bring into existence. Bring into existence. For example, he created a 30-acre lake. He created a 30-acre lake. Cross. Cross. Cross means go or extend across. Go or extend across. For example, he has crossed the Atlantic twice. He has crossed the Atlantic twice. Cry. Cry. Cry means shed tears. Shed tears. For example, don't cry, it'll be all right. Don't cry, it'll be all right. Cycle. Cycle. Cycle means ride bicycle. Ride bicycle. For example, she cycled to work every day. She cycled to work every day. Dance. Dance. Dance means move rhythmically to music. Move rhythmically to music. For example, their cheeks were pressed together as they danced. Their cheeks were pressed together as they danced. Deal. Deal. Deal means distribute cards. Distribute cards. For example, the cards were dealt for the last hand. The cards were dealt for the last hand. Depend. Depend. Depend means be controlled or determined by. Be controlled or determined by. For example, differences in earnings depended on a wide variety of factors. Differences in earnings depended on a wide variety of factors. Describe. Describe. Describe means give detailed account in words of. Give detailed account in words of. For example, the man was described as tall, clean-shaven, and with short dark hair. The man was described as tall, clean-shaven, and with short dark hair. Develop. Develop. Develop means grow and become more advanced. Grow and become more advanced. For example, motion pictures developed into mass entertainment. Motion pictures developed into mass entertainment. Die. Die. Die means stop living. Stop living. For example, the king died a violent death. The king died a violent death. Disagree. Disagree. Disagree means have different opinion. Have different opinion. For example, no one was willing to disagree with him. No one was willing to disagree with him. Disappear. Disappear. Disappear means cease to be visible. Cease to be visible. For example, he disappeared into the trees. He disappeared into the trees. Discover. Discover. Discover means find unexpectedly or while searching. Find unexpectedly or while searching. For example, firemen discovered a body in the debris. Firemen discovered a body in the debris. Discuss. Discuss. Discuss means talk about something with person or people. Talk about something with person or people. For example, I discussed the matter with my wife. I discussed the matter with my wife. Double. Double. Double means become twice as much or as many. Become twice as much or as many. For example, profits doubled in 1 year. Profits doubled in 1 year. Draw. Draw. Draw means produce picture or diagram. Produce picture or diagram. For example, he drew a map. He drew a map. Dream. Dream. Dream means experience dreams. Experience dreams. For example, I dreamed about her last night. I dreamed about her last night. Dress. Dress. Dress means put on clothes. Put on clothes. For example, Graham showered and dressed quickly. Graham showered and dressed quickly. Drink. Drink. Drink means swallow liquid. Swallow liquid. For example, we sat by the fire, drinking our coffee. We sat by the fire, drinking our coffee. Drive. Drive. Drive means operate motor vehicle. Operate motor vehicle. For example, he got into his car and drove off. He got into his car and drove off. Drop. Drop. Drop means let fall vertically. Let fall vertically. For example, The fire was caused by someone dropping a lighted cigarette. The fire was caused by someone dropping a lighted cigarette. Dry. Dry. Dry means become dry. Become dry. For example, allow 24 hours for the paint to dry. Allow 24 hours for the paint to dry. Earn. Earn. Earn means obtain money in return for work. Obtain money in return for work. For example, they earn 35 per hour. They earn 35 per hour. Eat. Eat. Eat means put food into the mouth. Put food into the mouth. For example, he was eating a hot dog. He was eating a hot dog. Email. Email. Email means send email to. Send email to. For example, you can email me at my normal address. You can email me at my normal address. Employ. Employ. Employ means give paid work to. Give paid work to. For example, the firm employs 150 people. The firm employs 150 people. End. End. End means come or bring to end. Come or bring to end. For example, when the war ended, policy changed. When the war ended, policy changed. Enjoy. Enjoy. Enjoy means take delight or pleasure in. Take delight or pleasure in. For example, Joe enjoys reading Icelandic family sagas. Joe enjoys reading Icelandic family sagas. Exercise. Exercise. Exercise means use faculty, write, etc. Use faculty, write, etc. For example, control is exercised by the board. Control is exercised by the board. Exist. Exist. Exist means have objective reality or being. Have objective reality or being. For example, there existed no organization to cope with espionage. There existed no organization to cope with espionage. Expect. Expect. Expect means regard something as likely. Regard something as likely. For example, we expect the best. We expect the best. Explain. Explain. Explain means make idea or situation clear to someone by describing it in more detail. Make idea or situation clear to someone by describing it in more detail. For example, they explained that their lives centered on the religious rituals. They explained that their lives centered on the religious rituals. Express. Express. Express means Convey thought or feeling. Convey thought or feeling. For example, he expressed complete satisfaction. He expressed complete satisfaction. Fail. Fail. Fail means be unsuccessful. Be unsuccessful. For example, he failed in his attempt to secure election. He failed in his attempt to secure election. Fall. Fall. Fall means move downwards. Move downwards. For example, 5 inches of snow fell through the night. 5 inches of snow fell through the night. Farm. Farm. Farm means make living as farmer. Make living as farmer. For example, he has farmed organically for 5 years. He has farmed organically for 5 years. Feed. Feed. Feed means give food to. Give food to. For example, the raiders fed the guard dog to keep it quiet. The raiders fed the guard dog to keep it quiet. Fight. Fight. Fight means take part in violent physical struggle. Take part in violent physical struggle. For example, the men were fighting. The men were fighting. Fill. Fill. Fill means cause to become full. Cause to become full. For example, I filled the bottle with water. I filled the bottle with water. Film. Film. Film means make film of. Make film of. For example, she glowered at the television crew who were filming them. She glowered at the television crew who were filming them. Invent. Invent. Invent means create or design. Create or design. For example, he invented an improved form of the steam engine. He invented an improved form of the steam engine. Hit. Hit. Hit means strike with hand, weapon, etc. Strike with hand, weapon, etc. For example, the woman hit the mugger with her umbrella. The woman hit the mugger with her umbrella. Hold. Hold. Hold means grasp or carry in one's hands. Grasp or carry in one's hands. For example, she was holding a brown leather suitcase. She was holding a brown leather suitcase. Hurt. Hurt. Hurt means cause pain to. Cause pain to. For example, ow, you're hurting me. Ow, you're hurting me. Identify. Identify. Identify means establish identity of. Establish identity of. For example, the judge ordered that the girl not be identified. The judge ordered that the girl not be identified. Imagine. Imagine. Imagine means form mental image of. Form mental image of. For example, I couldn't imagine what she expected to tell them. I couldn't imagine what she expected to tell them. Improve. Improve. Improve means make or become better. Make or become better. For example, we've used technology to improve relations with customers. We've used technology to improve relations with customers. Include. Include. Include means comprise or contain as part of whole. Comprise or contain as part of whole. For example, the price includes dinner, bed, and breakfast. The price includes dinner, bed, and breakfast. Increase. Increase. Increase means become or make greater in size or degree. Become or make greater in size or degree. For example, car use is increasing at an alarming rate. Car use is increasing at an alarming rate. Interest. Interest. Interest means excite curiosity or attention of. Excite curiosity or attention of. For example, I thought the book might interest Eric. I thought the book might interest Eric. Interview. Interview. Interview means hold interview with. Hold interview with. For example, he arrived to be interviewed by a local TV station about the level of unemployment. He arrived to be interviewed by a local TV station about the level of unemployment. Introduce. Introduce. Introduce means bring into use or operation for first time. Bring into use or operation for first time. For example, various new taxes were introduced. Various new taxes were introduced. Finish. Finish. Finish means complete task or activity. Complete task or activity. For example, they were straining to finish the job. They were straining to finish the job. Involve. Involve. Involve means include as necessary or integral part. Include as necessary or integral part. For example, his transfer to another school would involve a lengthy assessment procedure. His transfer to another school would involve a lengthy assessment procedure. Join. Join. Join means link. Link. For example, the tap was joined to a pipe. The tap was joined to a pipe. Joke. Joke. Joke means make jokes. Make jokes. For example, she could laugh and joke with her colleagues. She could laugh and joke with her colleagues. Jump. Jump. Jump means push oneself into air using legs and feet. Push oneself into air using legs and feet. For example, the cat jumped off his lap. The cat jumped off his lap. Keep. Keep. Keep means have or retain possession of. Have or retain possession of. For example, return one copy to me, keeping the other for your files. Return one copy to me, keeping the other for your files. Kill. Kill. Kill means cause death of. Cause death of. For example, her father was killed in a car crash. Her father was killed in a car crash. Knock. Knock. Knock means strike surface noisily. Strike surface noisily. For example, I knocked on the kitchen door. I knocked on the kitchen door. No. No. No means be aware of. Be aware of. For example, most people know that CFCs can damage the ozone layer. Most people know that CFCs can damage the ozone layer. Land. Land. Land means put on land from boat. Put on land from boat. For example, the lifeboat landed the survivors safely ashore. The lifeboat landed the survivors safely ashore. Laugh. Laugh. Laugh means make sounds expressive of amusement. Make sounds expressive of amusement. For example, she couldn't help laughing at his jokes. She couldn't help laughing at his jokes. Learn. Learn. Learn means gain knowledge of or skill in something. Gain knowledge of or skill in something. For example, they'd started learning French. They'd started learning French. Help. Help. Help means assist someone to do something. Assist someone to do something. For example, they helped her with domestic chores. They helped her with domestic chores. Find. Find. Find means discover by chance or unexpectedly. Discover by chance or unexpectedly. For example, Lindsay looked up to find Neil watching her. Lindsay looked up to find Neil watching her. Fish. Fish. Fish means try to catch fish. Try to catch fish. For example, he was fishing for bluefish. He was fishing for bluefish. Fit. Fit. Fit means be right shape and size for. Be right shape and size for. For example, those jeans still fit me. Those jeans still fit me. Fix. Fix. Fix means fasten securely in place. Fasten securely in place. For example, fix the clamp on a rail. Fix the clamp on a rail. Fly. Fly. Fly means move through the air using wings. Move through the air using wings. For example, close the door or the moths will fly in. Close the door or the moths will fly in. Focus. Focus. Focus means become able to see clearly. Become able to see clearly. For example, try to focus on a stationary object. Try to focus on a stationary object. Follow. Follow. Follow means move or travel behind. Move or travel behind. For example, she went back into the house, and Ben followed her. She went back into the house, and Ben followed her. Forget. Forget. Forget means fail to remember. Fail to remember. For example, he had forgotten his lines. He had forgotten his lines. Form. Form. Form means bring together parts to create. Bring together parts to create. For example, the company was formed in 1982. The company was formed in 1982. Get. Get. Get means come to have or hold. Come to have or hold. For example, I got the impression that she wasn't happy. I got the impression that she wasn't happy. Give. Give. Give means transfer possession of something to. Transfer possession of something to. For example, the check given to the jeweler proved worthless. The check given to the jeweler proved worthless. Go. Go. Go means move from one place to another. Move from one place to another. For example, he went out to the store. He went out to the store. Greet. Greet. Greet means give polite word of recognition or sign of welcome when meeting. Give polite word of recognition or sign of welcome when meeting. For example, some of the customers greeted the barman in Gaelic. Some of the customers greeted the barman in Gaelic. Grow. Grow. Grow means undergo natural development. Undergo natural development. For example, he would watch Nick grow to manhood. He would watch Nick grow to manhood. Guess. Guess. Guess means estimate without being sure of being correct. Estimate without being sure of being correct. For example, she guessed the child's age to be 14 or 15. She guessed the child's age to be 14 or 15. Guide. Guide. Guide means show or indicate way to. show or indicate way to. For example, he guided her to the front row and sat beside her. He guided her to the front row and sat beside her. Happen. Happen. Happen means take place. Take place. For example, 2 hours had passed and still nothing had happened. 2 hours had passed and still nothing had happened. Hate. Hate. Hate means feel intense dislike for. Feel intense dislike for. For example, the boys hate each other. The boys hate each other. Have. Have. Have means possess, own, or hold. Possess, own, or hold. For example, he had a new car and a boat. He had a new car and a boat. Hear. Hear. Hear means perceive sound made by. Perceive sound made by. For example, behind her she could hear men's voices. Behind her she could hear men's voices. Heat. Heat. Heat means make or become hot. Make or become hot. For example, the room faces north and is difficult to heat. The room faces north and is difficult to heat. Hide. Hide. Hide means put or keep out of sight. Put or keep out of sight. For example, he hid the money in the house. He hid the money in the house.
Great! Watch again, practice the sound, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.